So today, guys, we're gonna do something a little different. We're just gonna talk. So, as a lot of you guys may know, a year ago, I got fired from my job. Now, a lot of you may not know that because some of you guys are new to the channel. In that year, I've experienced a lot of growth, a lot more than I ever expected. So if you didn't know that before, 1 year ago, I lost my job and decided to just go full-time with this YouTube channel. At the time, I think I had around 4,500 subscribers. Definitely not really enough to do this full-time and completely survive off of it. So luckily, I had other sources of income at the time other than my full-time, 45-hour to 50-hour a week job as a logistics manager. And that is really the only way that I was able to make it happen. So yeah, 1 full year as a content creator, as my profession, I guess you could say. I still consider myself completely and totally amateur, but I like to think that I'm learning a little bit every day as I go with this. So when I started out doing this YouTube channel, I had absolutely no intentions of turning this into my career. I didn't think that the channel would catch on whatsoever. I started throwing up demo videos because I own a lot of gear that a lot of people would always ask me how certain amps sound, how do certain cabs with certain speakers sound, combinations. I was always getting questions on basically tone related things when it mainly came to amps that I owned that not a lot of other people had experience with. So I bought a 2 Notes captor, and that was really my first experience with recording anything. And I figured, you know what? I have this 2 Notes captor, I have all these amps, I should just start doing little playthrough videos and throwing them up on YouTube, just so if people really wanted to hear how an amp sounds and I own that amp, I could just direct them to those YouTube clips. So I made a couple videos like that, and they got way more traction than I had ever intended. I mean, the first 5 videos or something that I did, almost all those videos broke 1,000 views within a few days of me posting them, and I thought that that was pretty good. Now, granted, I was taking these videos and I was sharing them on my Facebook group. I was sharing them in all the Facebook groups that I interact with. So that definitely helped them gain some traction, but it helped the channel grow quickly. And then you guys started asking me questions that you wanted me to answer in the comments. And I figured, why don't I just answer these on camera, and it'll give me a little extra content to throw up. You guys can get to know me a little bit more, because I never really intended on putting myself on camera. It's just something that eventually the channel evolved into. I was really uncomfortable with it at first, and it can definitely, you can see it very clearly in probably my first month to 2 months worth of content. I didn't really know how to be myself, how to be natural on camera. It's definitely something that you have to work at. It's definitely not something that comes easy. So luckily, I think I have that figured out at this point. Obviously, I'm really kind of relaxed and chill because I've been reflecting a lot over the last couple of weeks. I haven't really recorded any demos or anything like that, and we'll get to that soon as to why that is, but I've just kind of spent some time thinking about where I am and where I was a year ago, and figured I would just kind of address it head on with you guys. So yeah, the channel kind of took off, and I started to run with it. And once I hit about the 2,000 subscriber mark, I was like, this is growing quickly. It seems to be growing a lot faster than some of the other channels that started way sooner than mine did. So I kind of took that as a sign. I was watching numbers at that point, seeing how quickly the channel was growing, and thinking, hey, maybe I'm onto something here. Maybe people are connecting with something about the channel. Maybe this is something that I could turn into a career, 5-6 years down the road, once it has been significantly built up to a point where I had much more of a following, where my skills were better, and I just felt like I was in a little bit more of a comfortable position to leave behind a full-time job. So as you guys can probably tell, that didn't really happen. As I really started thinking about the channel and kind of aiming at putting plans together within the next few years to take it full-time and keeping my eye on things and see how they went, I ended up getting into a little bit of a disagreement with someone at my workplace. Now, Prior to that, I was really unhappy working at this place. Started out as a really good job. I felt really lucky to work there, but it was extremely stressful. I got promoted into a position that I really didn't want, and I really didn't have the option to take it either. So I eventually kind of grew into the position, but I never really felt attached to it. I never loved it. It was not what I signed up for. It was way more stress, and even though I was getting paid well for where I live in and for my education level, I didn't feel like I was getting paid nearly enough for the amount of work that I was putting in and for the amount of stress that I had. I am not a stressed out type of person. I'm a very laid back person, and that job would keep me up nights. I was constantly worried about losing my job, and inevitably I lost my job, but it wasn't for the reasons that I thought that it would happen. And yeah, it just was really just killing my quality of life working at this position. So again, that's kind of why I had started to make plans. I'm like, all right, even if this doesn't work out, I'm gonna try to set myself up for it, give it a try, see what happens. And if I spend a little time doing it, if the channel grows to the point where I feel like I could leave my full-time position, I'm definitely gonna take that chance because I'm not happy there. I don't see any room for future opportunity. And I knew that if I stayed there long term, I was just gonna get increasingly more and more unhappy due to the management of the company not really looking after people. It was becoming increasingly clear that they were only caring about their bottom line, and all the promises that they had made to the employees about basically taking care of everybody with new management were going out the window. So I knew that it was only a matter of time before I was out of there anyways. So yeah, long story short, I was unhappy. Somebody came in that was above me, talked to me in a way that was extremely disrespectful and demanded that I do something that was not my job. Now, typically, I'm not the type of person to say that. I am a team player when it comes to being an employee of a company, not necessarily a yes man, but if somebody asks me to do something and it's gonna help other people, not help the top people make money, but help other people in the company relieve some stress off of them or something like that, I am all for it. I am all for helping out my coworkers and creating a team type mentality among the people, among my peers. That's just, it makes the job that you're doing, if you don't like it, much easier to do, and it makes it much more enjoyable knowing that you're helping the people around you. But when I have somebody in the upper echelon of the company walking into the office, putting a finger in my face and telling me to do something, I'm not gonna take that. And if that situation ever happens to you, I hope that you're in a position where you don't have to take it either, because that was the most humiliated I ever felt in my life, someone walking in, pointing in my face and telling me to do something. So immediately I just let them know I wasn't gonna stand for that. And I did it in a professional way, I did it in a respectful way, and I still lost my job because the person that I did have this confrontation with is, you know, somebody who has a complex for sure. They were probably a nerd that got stuffed into lockers when they were younger, had absolutely no power, and as they got older and they got power within the companies that they worked in, they started power tripping over somebody else because, you know, they had to make up for all the bullying that they received when they were younger. So unfortunately, that's just what happens sometimes, and they have to treat other people like dirt because in reality they feel they're inadequate. So that is essentially what I was up against, and I stood up for myself and I lost my job for it, and I have absolutely no regrets in that regard. But it's been a year since I have been doing the content creation thing full-time, as I mentioned, and it hasn't quite been what I expected it to be. Now, I'm not complaining about it because, to be completely honest, to be your own boss, to make your own schedule, and to do something that you love doing as your full-time career, your day job, whatever you want to call it, is probably one of the most rewarding things in the world, especially when I get to make videos for like-minded people that inevitably help them out. Now, of course, we're talking about guitar gear. This stuff isn't really all that serious in the grand scheme of life, but I get a lot of people who send me really nice messages, who leave me really nice comments, telling me how much their videos helped them, how much time and money it saved them because I did exactly the right demo that they were looking for and it helped them make the right choice. They purchased an amp based on my video and they're extremely happy with it. So that is really why I started the channel in the first place. So when I get comments and stuff like that, it makes me super, super happy. And that is the fulfilling part of it, is I kind of feel like I'm contributing to something it's a little bit bigger than myself. I'm not contributing to somebody else's pocketbook on a daily basis while I bring home scraps and pennies. The older I get, the more that I think about working for a company where you basically make a whole bunch of money for somebody and you get next to nothing in return. It's just kind of a disgusting idea to me, and I know that it's the norm. I know that it's basically, that's life as it is here in America these days, but I'm just telling you where my mindset is when it comes to working for a large company that really has no respect for you and treats you as nothing but a number. So to have been able to get away from that is incredible. It's not something that I ever thought that I was going to be able to do. But there are definitely some drawbacks to doing this full time. And it's so funny because now as a content creator myself, I see more and more content creators coming out and making videos similar to this, where they're basically saying the same thing. They're saying, hey, thank you guys, I have my dream job. I hope that I'm helping you in some way, but this really does kind of take a toll on you, and it's something that you don't expect. It's something that doesn't seem like it would, but it really does. Over time, this can be extremely draining, and there are a few reasons for that, and I just kind of wanted to share them with you because you guys don't get to see a lot of the behind the scenes stuff from me or from a lot of other content creators. And this is basically just going to be a heart-to-heart between me and the followers who care about this channel, as I don't see the average person coming onto this channel and connecting with me if they don't know me at all. But if you guys have been following the channel for a while, you will definitely kind of understand where I'm coming from a little bit better. And hopefully this gives you a glimpse into me being a real person, because I am 100% a real, regular person just like you. I'm just a dude who loves playing guitar. I'm a dude who loves playing music and sharing that experience with other people. I know it's easy to look at content creators as larger than life type personalities. I know myself in the past, I have definitely, and still do, look at content creators almost as celebrities, not in a bad way, but as in, like, you almost don't see them as a real person because all you're seeing is what they are showing you for your entertainment or for educational value. So it's easy to not see that person as a real regular person who goes through real regular life struggles every day. So one of the biggest things that has been difficult for me is I am not very much of a social person, definitely not as much as a lot of the people around me. I actually enjoy isolation a lot of the time. I enjoy just being on my own, being by myself. When I grew up, I lived kind of out in the boonies, and even though I did have friends, a lot of the time I lived so far away that I spent most of my nights in my bedroom by myself playing guitar or playing video games. And this was before cell phones. This was really before high-speed internet, and it was before online gaming and stuff. So there wasn't that like online community where you got to interact with people. So I was just kind of by myself a lot of the time, and I got comfortable being like that to the point where sometimes I have a hard time interacting with people for long periods of time because it's not what I'm used to. It can be socially draining on me, especially if it's a situation where I'm not feeling fully comfortable. So with that being said, doing this full time, especially here in Erie, PA in the winter, and kind of just being stuck in your house all day long with nobody to talk to is extremely isolating. Like, it's way, way harder than I ever thought it would be to be by yourself day in and day out, not leaving your house and basically just being isolated to a single small space for most of your life, man. It's tough. There are days that I really, really struggle with it, and especially in the winter when I can't just go outside and do something if I want to. And on top of that, when you work at a job with other people, you kind of get used to people being around, whether you want them to be around or not. And when all of a sudden there's nobody around to vent to anymore, there's nobody around to share ideas with anymore, there's nobody around to even bug you and kind of mix your day up, it really does kind of make the days boring and somewhat depressing. But I am not depressed, I'm not sad, I do just feel isolated from time to time, to the point where when the weather got nice, I got really excited to be able to leave my house without freezing or without falling on my ass by walking on ice or something when I'm walking my dogs. So I have taken absolutely every opportunity to leave my house every time I can. Because being pent up in the same place for a long time without the ability to leave can be very frustrating. It can be kind of depressing at times, and it can really kind of just drain the life out of you. At least that's how I felt. I felt really isolated. I felt really cooped up. I got cabin fever really bad. So I have really just been making the most of my days recently, trying to get out, do as many cool things with the dogs and with my girlfriend as I can. I've traveled a bunch this summer, picked up a new hobby. I've started mountain biking outdoors, and I've fallen in love with that. So that has really helped. But I've also got to the point earlier in the summer where I just felt completely burnt out on gear and making videos. So my girlfriend works in the school system and she gets summers off just like the kids do. So I knew that I was gonna have basically a 2.5 month period where it was gonna be really hard for me to film videos. So before she was off for the summer, I spent the last probably 3 weeks just hammering out video after video after video, and I had to set these up in a way that were efficient so I could get as many items done as I could in a short period of time, knowing that I wouldn't really know when it was I was gonna get time to film videos, because, you know, she doesn't leave the house a lot in the summer because she doesn't have to. She doesn't have to go to work. We are each other's best friends, so we do most things together. So as a side effect of me kind of just hunkering down and just knocking out a ton of videos for a few weeks, it really burnt me out, like really bad, to the point where the last couple of days I didn't want to do whatever video it was that I had to do. And I kind of had to like just force myself to get through it. And that feeling sucks when something that you love becomes like cumbersome and you just don't look forward to doing it. So I knocked out a ton of stuff, and I really have only filmed maybe 4 or 5 demos all summer. And that was only on stuff that I needed to get done before I got it out the door, or stuff that I was borrowing from somebody, or something that had a deadline. So yeah, I essentially have taken a summer vacation. I wake up, I edit my videos in the morning. I reduced my output to make sure that I didn't run out of videos to post for you guys, and it's all kind of worked out really well, because I've essentially been able to just hang out all summer. But you know, I spend a couple hours a day editing, and then I'm done and I can do whatever I want. So that part has been really cool, because I've been able to get outside and really enjoy the weather, enjoy the summer for the first time in my life as an adult, and that has been awesome. But as a side effect of being burnt out, I just didn't care about gear for a long time, and I know that's probably hard for you guys to believe. I actually went through that phase shortly before I started my YouTube channel, where I sold a lot of my gear because I just didn't care. I got burnt out on too much of the same thing and got rid of a lot of my stuff and just didn't play guitar for a while. So when I started getting back into gear is when the fire kind of reignited. That was late 2020, and that's when I started my YouTube channel, because I started socializing with people a lot about gear again. And the fire was kind of just burning brighter than ever, and I'm glad that things worked out the way that they did, because now I get to do this full time, and it's most days it's really awesome. But I kind of reached that point again at the beginning of the summer where I'm just like, I don't care about gear. Like, I put a bunch of stuff up for sale that I didn't think that I was gonna sell, and I just got rid of it to fund my new hobby and to feel comfortable traveling and stuff like that. And I have absolutely no regrets about that. But yeah, when you do something, when you turn your hobby into your job, it makes it even easier to get burnt out on something you love, because you are just focused on that thing 24/7. Felt like my video creativity kind of went out the door because I was focused on hitting deadlines and stuff, which one thing I have found out about myself that I kind of knew already, but Didn't think that it applied to something I enjoyed, but I am not very good at hitting deadlines, time management. When there is something that I'm a little bit nervous about doing, I tend to procrastinate. So a lot of people who sent me videos on items that I wanted to make sure I did a really good job on, I ended up procrastinating a really long time to the point where I put them off for way too long. So to anybody I did that to, I apologize, guys. It's a personal flaw, it's something I'm working on. But when I'm nervous about doing a good job on something, I tend to put it off because I don't want to fail. So that is one thing that I am definitely going to work on moving forward. I'm also not going to overload myself. I took on a lot of videos when I first started, being really excited to work with companies, being really excited for people to even reach out to me. And I said yes to more things than I should have. And that also created some procrastination because I just had more than I could handle. And I don't feel like I did as good a job on some of that stuff as I would have liked to because I kind of rushed it out after sitting on it for a while. So getting better at time management, getting better at focusing on a project and just getting it done are things that I have learned about myself, that I'm happy to have learned about myself. And moving forward, I know now not to say yes to everything that comes my way, because not only can I take on too much stuff, but I can take on things that I may not necessarily be excited about, and I don't want that to show through in the videos because I love doing these and I don't want it to come through as work to you guys. So yeah, there are definitely a lot of things I have learned in a year of content creation. I feel like my creativity has gone stagnant because I worked so hard to build up a backlog so I could take the summer vacation that it got to a point where everything was just a template. I did the same thing over and over again to the point where I wanted to tear out my eyes and just move on and do something else. And now that I've had that break, I realize I don't have to have as much output as I did before, especially if my creativity is gonna suffer. So moving forward, I'm gonna work on kind of just improving the quality in my videos. Some of you guys have said that the editing on my recent videos has been better. And I really appreciate that because I have been working on trying to break up the shots, on trying to make it seem a little bit more interesting. So I want my creativity to be there. That way the videos don't feel stagnant to you guys. I know over the past 2 months, it's basically just been nothing but amp demos and pedal demos, and that's gonna change pretty soon here as my girlfriend goes back to work. I will have the house to myself again and I can kind of I'll be free to do as I please as far as making noise and stuff. But yeah, you're gonna start to see some more variety and stuff. But I really just wanted to take this chance to say, even though I'm kind of sitting here telling you all the things that kind of suck about this job, or make you feel like maybe you're not doing the right thing because it gets boring or you start to fall out of love with it, I'm starting to feel the fire burning again. I am really excited to get back to making videos for you guys. And honestly, when you guys leave those comments about how much the channel has helped you, how much you enjoy the videos, how much you look forward to stuff, I get tons and tons of negative comments all the time, and it's just kind of something that I have tuned out. But when you guys leave the positive stuff, I try to focus on that because that stuff means the world to me. It makes that fire just come back every time I read one of those comments just a little bit more. And I've been trying to get better at responding to those too and letting you guys know how much I appreciate that you appreciate me. It's reciprocal. But for real, I mean, I appreciate you guys leaving the nice comments and everything. I'm super glad to be doing something where I feel like I'm contributing to something I love, which is the guitar gear community, and helping people on a daily basis and being able to answer people's questions, sometimes that they didn't even know that they had, and provide that information, share what I know and share what I love with you guys and have it benefit your lives in some way, shape, or form. So thank you so much to every single person out there who makes it possible for me to do this. Every click that you do on my videos, every view, every like, every dislike, every comment, whether it's good or bad, helps me. And I seriously couldn't be more thankful for all the support that you guys have shown me over this last year. So yeah, 1 year down as a full-time content creator, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. So I will be seeing you guys in some more videos coming up here soon. Thank you so much for the support. Sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate you guys more than you know. Kyle here again. We'll see you next time. You know what this wall is missing? Another amp. There we go.